Oh, hello, everybody. It's Stephen Pynakker here, Mormon Book Reviews for an Evangelical Encounters of Restoration. And I have never done the live feed using my laptop before. I've done a couple times on my computer, with my cell phone. And I just thought, well, new year, let's try something different and have a little fun. Maybe in the future I'll schedule these live feeds and everything. But I just thought I'd sit here and chat for a little bit, and maybe some people will jump on the chat. I have no idea, but like I said, I'm just literally doing this a spur of the moment thing here. And I just wanted to kind of update everybody kind of what I actually got a phone call from Josh Gailey a little while ago of the Church of Jesus Christ. He's like, hey, what events are going on that we need to put on our calendar? And I told him, he gave me a few, and then I told him some other ones. So this is the 3 trips that I have planned in 2024. Plus, I want to talk about some other things I'm going to be doing, particularly for the channel. But this year, I'm definitely planning on going to the Mormon History Association, which will be in Kirtland, Ohio, or actually Cleveland, Tennessee, but it's the Kirtland, Ohio. We're going to spend a lot of time out there. And then in July, I plan on going to Sunstone to do my annual umpiring of the kickball tournament between Team Outer Brightness and Team Outer Darkness. Oh, here. So these are the hats. So Team Outer Darkness is are the ex-Mormons, and in Team Higher Law are the people, the fundamentalists. And this will be the 3rd year in a row that I will be the umpire between those 2 groups for the kickball tournament. That's always a good time had by all. That's like the closing event at Sunstone on Saturday night. And so that's the game plan there, is to get out. And then I'm planning on going to finally, for the first time, I'll be in southern Utah. I'm going to plan on getting out to St. George, Utah, to attend the John Whitmer Historical Association, which had just dawned on me. I got to renew my memberships of both Mormon History Association and John Whitmer. Should have done it by the end of the year. Time creeps up on me. But either way, so those are my 3 trips where I'm for sure going to be going to Utah, or doing trips, for those 3 conferences. Now, last year I did 6 trips. I went on 6 separate trips: 3 to Utah, 1 to Rochester, New York for MHA, 1 to Fredericksburg, Texas, where I gave a presentation for the John Whitmer Historical Association, and then, of course, and then there was one other. Oh, yeah, Kansas City for the Book of Mormon rally in Independence, Missouri, put out by my friend, the Apostle Patrick McKay. Hi, Steve. Have you talked about plans for doing a read-through of the Book of Mormon with Nehemiah? And that's from Casey Butts in the chat here. So I haven't talked about that yet, but that's actually one of the things I did want to talk about. So right now, Nehemiah is a little under the weather, so we're kind of have a little delay. But as far as I know, Nehemiah is up for doing it, and we're going to probably maybe do maybe twice a month. We're going to read through the Book of Mormon together. So you're going to have one of the top Hebrew scholars in the world engaging the Book of Mormon along with an evangelical who hasn't actually read the Book of Mormon cover to cover. I know, I've admitted this, folks. I know. I've probably read about 80 to 90% of the Book of Mormon, but I still haven't read it cover to cover. And I thought, well, how much fun it would be for me to read through the Book of Mormon for the first time on camera. And I think that would be really exciting. Okay, so Lucy says, Happy New Year, Steve. I appreciate all your efforts and the content you present to us. Best wishes for 2024 from Toronto, Canada. By the way, just so you know, Canada typically, the United Kingdom and Canada usually vie for the second most views. So the United States, of course, is number 1. And it's usually a toss between Canada and the United Kingdom. And then Australia is usually in 3rd. So in the English-speaking world, I definitely have a presence. And interestingly enough, I actually have a lot of people that watch me in the Philippines too. Interesting. Sometimes they'll creep into the top 5 as well. So the game plan is that hopefully, if all goes according to plan, nothing is etched in stone at this point, but we would do maybe twice a month a read through the Book of Mormon with Nehemiah and I, which I'm very excited about. And I've actually got in touch with a few other YouTubers to ask them, hey, can we come on your program to promote this? And as a matter of fact, I'm actually I'm going to get in touch with somebody at the Deseret News to see if they want to do a news story about that. So that's kind of the game plan right now. So there are a lot of different conferences that I haven't been able to get to. I'd love to get out to the Book of Mormon Studies Association in October. That Dr. Christopher Thomas, who wrote the book, A Pentecostal Reads the Book of Mormon, he was the president of the Book of Mormon Studies Association. He has stepped down. He served 6 years. He helped start it. He was the founding president. And but as far as I know, he'll still be attending. And of course, he wrote the book, A Pentecostal Reads the Book of Mormon. And that was the very first book that I reviewed on Mormon book reviews. This is a perfectly appropriate book, I think, to be reading. So I also just want to tell people I had a fantastic time in Utah last month. All my trips to Utah were extremely productive. And really just it's wonderful to be able to meet people face to face. I was telling Josh today, I said, you can go on and do all the social media and Facebook, where I do a lot of stuff on Facebook or on YouTube, but really there's nothing like meeting somebody face to face, looking them in the eyes, and handing them your business card. That's how I was able to book Richard Bushman when I had 106 subscribers. I just walked up to him, introduced myself, and next thing you know, I'm talking to Richard Bushman. So that was a thrill, of course, when that all happened. We all know that is exciting, and it's great to have a relationship with Richard Bushman. Which, by the way, the plan is at this point. I of course had Richard on about his Gold Plates book. The plan is hopefully, and I actually will probably email him today or tomorrow. I've been kind of waiting for the holidays. Is I'm going to have Richard Bushman and Claudia Bushman come on my program to talk about their legacies within the scholarly community. I think they're both in their 90s. I think we need to take that interview because people aren't going to be with us forever, right? And then I do want to also, I've talked to Sandra Tanner about her coming on to talk about her legacy. I was kind of hoping to do something when I was in Utah, but it just didn't work out, but that's fine. But I definitely want to do something with Sandra Tanner. There's a lot of guests, some people I'm booking. Folks, there's some amazing things that I've been able to get access to. Some new scholarship that's coming down the pike, some new theories about things that are truly fascinating to me. You have to understand, literally, scholars come to me and will present their research to me and let me give them feedback and research. So it's really cool to be kind of on the cutting edge of what's happening in the Mormon scholarly community. And so that's really exciting as well. So I wanted to say I'm going to probably tape either today, and I might post it later tonight, or I might wait till Thursday, depending on what kind of response I get on this video, to tape about my tour of the going through the Orem Temple. I had a personal tour by somebody with the church who kind of does interfaith work with the church, and spent an hour and a half touring the Orem Temple. So I'm going to do something. I'm going to have an episode about that this week. I've got 3 interviews scheduled this week. One is Thursday with some archaeologists tied in with the Community of Christ, revolutionary work about the Nauvoo. They've done extensive archaeological work in Nauvoo. And so there's some misconceptions about the history of Nauvoo that are going to be brought to light. So I'm going to interview them Thursday morning. And then Friday morning, I'm going to be interviewing the family, some of the members of the Mormon Book of Mormon Reviews YouTube channel. They're really cool people. They're actually kind of using the Book of Mormon and trying to broaden its theme to all different Christian groups, and not just make this a Utah-based thing, but realize that the Book of Mormon is a very Christian document. And they have this fascinating channel, and they've been using my clips like crazy. They put me on a lot of their shorts. They really appreciate what I do, and I really appreciate them. So Book of Mormon Reviews, many of you probably are aware of them now. They've got a few hundred subscribers. And so I'll be interviewing them on Friday. And then Saturday, I'm planning on interviewing Mormonism with the Murph, Stephen Murphy, and Gustafov, who does that Spanish language channel. And I don't remember the name because I don't speak Spanish, but I'm going to be interviewing them on Saturday morning to talk about how our channel is engaging Mormon history, and how they're both faithful Latter-day Saints but also approach Mormon history and scholarship with their eyes wide open, are aware of all the different things, and they take it head on, which I just find, honestly, I just think that's really cool. I find it really fascinating. By the way, how's my stream? How's the sound? How's the video quality? I just realized I didn't plug my my computer directly into my router, and I usually do that when I do stuff like that. So I'm still learning the ropes here. So let me know if things are coming across loud and through, or if there's any breakup going on here too. I have been, of course, there has been some evangelicals who have been criticizing me, especially for attending the baptism of Reed into the Church of Jesus Christ when I was out there in Utah. And I have responded to them. And okay, I get a thumbs up, so sound and video is good. Thanks, KC, for getting back in touch with me. And I've kind of been addressing them, and I actually posted something on Facebook, on my Facebook page, my personal Facebook. And if you're on Facebook and you're not friends with me, make a friend request. Just type in Steve Pynakker; it's going to come right up. And if you want to message me saying, hey, I'm making this friend request because you asked me to, make sure you do that, because sometimes I'll get people who give me a friend request and I don't have any mutual friends, and I'm like, okay, is how do I know this person? So sometimes if you do make a friend request, just direct message me as well, saying, hey, I'm making this friend request because I want to be friends with you on Facebook, because I do actually go on Facebook Live about twice a week and update my audience with the channel happenings there. I just want to know, what do you think about me doing something like this more frequently, where I just hop on YouTube Live and just start talking? I've never really done this in this format, but I think what I'll do is, if I do plan on doing it, I will schedule the live thing so people will be aware that it's on, that they'll be coming on. This is just a spur of the moment experiment. I just wanted to see, okay, what's this all about? How does this work? So I just thought I'd share this with you guys. I just also wanted to share too that, when I first started the channel, this bookshelf is representative of what my collection was. And then behind me, this bookshelf here, these are the books that have been accumulated in my collection since I started the channel. Many of these books behind me were sent to me for free by authors, publishers, people who want to add books to my collection. So it's really an honor and a privilege to be able to have this huge bookshelf behind me now, and be able to read all this stuff. Now, I can't get to it all. Sometimes it gets hard. I feel sometimes overwhelmed when I get, probably, I mean, on average, I probably get 4 or 5 books a week sent to me now. And I tell the authors who send me these books, and don't just send me the book, also email me, be relentless, because at this point I get so many requests from people, and sometimes somebody will send me a book and then I don't hear from them for 6 months. I'll be like, look, if you've sent me a book, I do want to I want to honor you, first of all, and thank you for sending me the book, but also I want to request that you stay on me on my email, which is mormonbookreviews@gmail.com, and just stay in communication with me, or even on Facebook. If you're friends with me on Facebook, you can direct message me as well. Be persistent, because your efforts will pay off. John DeLynn, I remember watching a video last year. He says he gets like 20 interview requests a day. And I can't imagine it be on that scale, but I'd say I get, I don't know, 5, 10 a week, maybe. I don't know. Maybe that's a little high on the high end, but either way, a lot of people want to come on my program, and I want to have a diversity of my audience. I want to have faithful members on. I want to have critics on. I want to have people who are neutral. I want to have the whole gambit. Sometimes people on one side will criticize me for, why are you platforming that person, or why, this, that. And so, listen, you missed the whole point of my endeavor if you get mad at me for the guests that I get, because I'm trying to have all the different voices of the restoration to be heard on my channel. And so for people it's usually on the left typically that criticize me. What's so interesting to me is that people on the right, I can have people who are highly critical of the Book of Mormon come on my program, and I rarely ever hear any pushback from faithful Latter-day Saints. But boy, if I put somebody on that's right of center, or they're considered to be too conservative for them, they just attack me. Why would you platform this person? I'm like, well, I'm one of those people. I want to talk to everybody, kind of like Larry King did. Larry King would talk to scoundrels, dictators. I mean, talk to everybody. That's kind of what I want to do, is I want to talk to everybody. Now, are there people that I would not have on my show? Absolutely. There are malevolent people. And I'm not going to say their names, but there are people that I would say that person will never, ever, ever have a platform, because there are malevolent people who will do harm to people. And I don't want those people to get any platform on my channel. So that's where I draw the line. People who want to do harm to other people who are potentially could. So and I do have a handful of people that will never come on my program. Okay, so I do. And somebody said, one of my critics said, do you have a moral center? I'm like, yeah, I do. Because if I didn't have a moral center, this channel would look a lot different. If all I was trying to do was just to get views and clicks, there's so many things I would have done. And if I didn't have a moral center, I could have made this really easy. I mean, imagine if I converted to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Imagine how huge my channel would get. But I haven't. But if I just did it just to convert, just to get views, then I wouldn't have a moral center, right? I mean, to me, I think it's really important just to have these really positive conversations with each other. I want to take people that disagree with each other and get them talking to each other and having civil discourse. And to me, that's so important. And so if you don't like every guest that I have on my program, then I'm probably doing something wrong. I don't I want you to look, I'm not going to have I I want to have as many different voices on my channel, which means there's going to be people on my channel that are going to say things about Joseph Smith and the Book of Mormon that you may not like if you're faithful. And I'm going to have people on my channel that maybe if you're somebody who's ex-Mormon or an atheist, you might have problems with me having them on. But the key thing is that I can't just pander to one side. I want all these different groups to be on. And that's to me is the fairest thing to do. So either way, I'm just trying to think. I'm starting to ramble. So usually when I start rambling, I usually get off because I don't want to say something that I'll later regret. Uh, but I just wanted to thank everybody for everything. I want to thank my contributors who helped me. And again, I don't really, somebody says I'm a grifter. One of my critics says I'm a grifter. I'm like, dude, if you knew how much money I actually get on this, make heck of a lot more flipping burgers at McDonald's, folks. I'm not doing this for the money. Okay. Let's just put it this way. I live in a 50-year-old mobile home with my mom. I drive a 15-year-old car. I have 2.5 pairs of jeans, 2.5. And I buy all my t-shirts at the thrift store. All right. Or some are sent to me. Some people send me stuff, clothing. So, and in my mind, on paper, I'm a loser, but you know what? I feel like a total winner, man, because I just love what I'm doing. I'm so passionate about being able to share my life and my story and share other people's lives and their stories on my channel and do it in a unique way that nobody else is able to do. Because truly, like Dr. Randy Bell said, this channel, MBR, is the Switzerland of Mormonism. It's a safe space for everyone, okay? And I want people to feel that their voice is going to be heard, and I'm not going to make fun of them, or not going to talk down to them, and I'm not going to be just another evangelical anti-Mormon show. We have enough of that garbage out there already, okay, folks. And I'm sorry, most of the evangelical stuff that's out there that's critical of the church is just not good. It's just garbage. And I just wish there were more Sandra Tanners in this world. Because if people like Gerald and Sandra Tanner, their approach, even though they were, quote, anti-Mormons, they never spread lies about the church. All they did was publish materials for people, the history of the church. And that's all they did. They disseminated information out there. They weren't, and as a matter of fact, there were many times when Gerald Tanner could have taken stuff to criticize the church, but he, like the Hoffman forgeries, he recognized it was a forgery. And he could have run with it. And even Mark Hoffman was mad at him. Well, why don't you use this? This proves your point, because the Tanners weren't about trying to attack the church. They just wanted information to get out there. And that's why BYU professors, the only place they could go to get materials about the history of their own church was from the Tanners. Okay. I think the work they did is so invaluable because it actually helped propel modern scholarship into the modernized Mormon history and scholarship. They played such an important role. They made a positive contribution to the Latter-day Saint movement. Okay. And I feel the same way. What I want to do is I tell people, people come to me and say, I'm learning so much about the history of my church by watching your channel, Steve. I had no idea there's all these other groups. And find it so interesting that there's all these other people out there that believe the Book of Mormon that aren't members of the Utah church. They find that fascinating. Let's see. I respect the channel because you can have Thomas Murphy and Rob Meldrum on your channel. Anyone who complains about platforming one or the other needs to go up. Amen to that. And by the way, let me tell you, I'm working on something. Thank you for bringing that up, Casey. So I'm talking to both Thomas Murphy and Rob Meldrum, and we're going to put together, and it's going to be on another platform. It might be shared. It might be on my channel and another major channel, but I'm not going to announce who it is. But basically, I will be the moderator between a conversation between anthropologist Thomas Murphy and my guy. They're both my guys, man. They're both awesome human beings, Rob Meldrum. And they're going to talk about DNA in the Book of Mormon. And Rod is going to be able to say his piece. And then Thomas Murphy is going to give his response to that. And I'm going to be the moderator. And then we're going to have a civil conversation afterwards, so like the first hour will be them giving their presentations, and they'll maybe do like a 30-minute to an hour, a time where we facilitate a conversation between Thomas Murphy and Rob Meldrum. And I've been asked to be the moderator of that. And it will be on a much bigger platform than mine, but also probably be streaming on my channel too. that's just, I'm giving you a little, thank you for bringing that up, Casey, because yeah, there's more to this story, folks. There's so many things I'm working on. It's so exciting to be able to go into rooms and places and meet people that most people will never be able to be able to go and get the tour of the Orem Temple and literally have areas that are cordoned off and they open it up and let me go in. I mean, just the access that I'm given is just incredible. I mean, let me see here. Where's it at? Where's it at? There's this book. I don't see it. Well, maybe I'll do another live feed and share with you guys a book that I got in the mail that's extraordinary. And like I said, I get stuff in the mail all the time. All these authors sending me stuff. All the research that I get access to before it's published is amazing. And as just a total geek and a nerd, a Mormon history buff, if you will, who just loves this, and it's I couldn't be happier than with my life than where it's at right now. I really am blessed. And I'm blessed because I get to talk with people like in the chat here. And, you know, last year when I was at Sunstone, I ran into some people in the hallway and they went to me and they said, what is like the most important thing that you've been able to accomplish with your channel? And I said, it's this conversation we're having right here, right now in the hallway during Sunstone. I said, this is the most important thing on my channel. It's be able to make actual connections with people. And I get emails throughout the world from people all the time telling me how much they appreciate the channel and the work that that we're doing. And that's a real privileged position to be in. And you know, and by the way, I mean, like I said, there are a few people that don't like me, but it doesn't bother me because 99% of the comments on my channel are positive. Almost all the thumbs up ratios on videos versus that thumbs down, it averages around 95, 97%. So I want to say, I want to focus on the positive because really, honestly, 99% of this has been positive. Have there been some negative experiences? Absolutely. Have there been times where I have had some stressors and some trauma a little bit that I had to process over the course of the last couple months? Yeah, a little bit of that. But that comes with the territory. I am a semi-public person. So I'm a big boy. I can handle it. You know, one of the things I tell people is I tell people that, you know, God told me don't make plans. I literally don't make plans. I really don't know if I'm going to release a video today. I usually do on Tuesday. Maybe this will be today's video. I have no idea what Thursday's video or Friday video is going to be. I have no idea what I'm releasing next week. I mean, that's how I operate. I just don't make any plans. I just kind of let the schedule fill itself out. And it's really cool because most of my guests book themselves. That's why I was saying earlier, authors, people who have sent me books or people who want to come on the program, be persistent. Email me, message me on Facebook. I will. You will eventually will get on my program. It's just you need to be patient too because you do understand this phone sometimes dings like 100 150 times a day. I can't imagine being John DeLynn because I scale that up. I mean, he probably gets like 1,000 dings on this phone a day. I have no idea. By the way, this is a Google Pixel 8 Pro that I got. It's a new camera. It's $1,000 phone, but I bought it on sale at the Spectrum store for $300. It says ads will run shortly for some viewers. I'm just going to say skip ads. I don't want to run an ad right in the middle of my live feed. Ad skipped. Now, that's kind of cool. I've never done this before, so it's kind of cool just to see what they have here. So either way, that's the latest. Also, do me a favor and in the comments, maybe make some recommendations for guests that you would like to have me on the program this year. One, give me some ideas for guests that I haven't had on before, but also give me some ideas for guests that you would like for me to bring back. Maybe there are particular people that I've had on. You know, Jonathan Neville. Every time I get him on, people love him. I am going to have Jonathan Neville on. We're going to talk about his latest book called The Rational Restoration. And so we're going to be doing that as well. Okay, well, I got a handful of people who are watching. I got a handful of people that have been chatting. So it looks like this is a really an awesome opportunity to be able to communicate to people. You know, like I said, I also do go on Facebook Live about twice a week. And I think I'm going to start doing this a little bit more now, too. We'll see. Let me know. Do you want me to do more of these kind of things where I just kind of turn on the camera and just start chatting? You know, people ask, you know, like, what is this? How can one be successful in the podcasting, broadcasting world? And I always tell them this story. And the story is Terry Boers, who is a pretty well-known columnist for the Chicago Sun-Times. In the early 90s, they started up an all sports talker radio program, radio station, WSCR, The Score, which, by the way, I'm going to do something about The Score one of these days. I'm actually Facebook friends with one of the people who used to work there, and I have an idea of what I want to do. But either way, I digress. But this guy, he's like, I'm a columnist. I've never done radio before. What is this? I don't know what I'm doing. I mean, how does one become successful in this industry? And the station manager goes to Terry and says, listen, this is the key. This is the secret to success in broadcasting. It is this: open mouth, say things. Honestly, folks, it's as easy as that. So if you're ever thinking of doing people ask me for advice for their podcasts and YouTube channels all the time. I just tell them, don't overthink it. Don't overplan it. Actually, just turn on the microphone, start talking like I'm doing right now. And just the more you do it, the better you get at it. And that's really the secret. It isn't that complicated. Of course, some people have to work harder. Some people it comes naturally. This comes very naturally to me. But if you work, if you work hard and you just, and again, don't be your own worst enemy. I think a lot of the people that I see, a lot of people who are podcasters and YouTubers, it's like they get in the way of themselves. It's like, oh man, you overthink this, or you try to be too rigid in what you want to do and realize that, like, hey, I was originally Mormon book reviews, right? But I'm more than just that. It's kind of like I tell people, like, there's this major retail chain in Canada called Canadian Tire. We don't go to Canadian Tire to buy tires. I mean, I guess you could, but you go to Canadian Tire to buy bread and clothes. It's like a Walmart in Canada. So I kind of look at myself that way. That more MBR, Mormon Book Reviews, is more than just about reviewing books. And partly because, to be honest with you, I only have 2 book reviews that I did that have over 1,000 views. So after all the work we did and writing the script and doing all this kind of stuff, get 300 views. And then we were doing the green screen with 4K. It's like, man, we're doing all this work and nobody's watching the book reviews. So that's why this channel pretty quickly transitioned to becoming pretty much exclusively an interview program. But of course, the books are always going to be the key thing about this whole thing as well. So, by the way, I'm almost finished with reading the Tanner's book about the Tanner's Lighthouse. This is really good. I think I'm gonna do a video about Sandra Tanner, maybe a live thing like this as well, because she is a friend. She comes out to every one of my meetups, and I just want to say to my evangelical critics out there that don't like me, I just want to say Sandra Tanner comes to every single one of my meetups. I'm friends with Sandra Tanner. Does she agree with 100% of everything I do? No, but you know what? She doesn't attack me. She doesn't say, oh, I question whether you're an evangelical or not, Steve. She doesn't say, oh, I question whether you're a Christian or not, Steve. I don't hear that from Sandra. And she is the person that all these other evangelicals are trying to emulate. Why is it that she has a much more positive view than many of my evangelical critics, especially those who are based in Utah? Yeah, why? Ask yourself that question. Well, first of all, she took the time to get to know me. And actually took the time to watch my channel and watch my interviews on Mormon Stories. I don't think any of my evangelical critics have really studied me, and I'm not asking like you have to, but this is the question I have. If you're an evangelical who's based in Utah and you're having a ministry to Mormons, and you got this evangelical that's doing this thing, why in the heck aren't you watching my program? Why aren't you keeping a closer eye on what I'm doing? Because literally, I've become the representative to many people of what evangelicalism is in Utah, and I'm reaching out. I have a much bigger audience than a lot of these other groups do. Nobody pays attention to any of these evangelical ministries that attack Mormonism. They don't watch any of their stuff. They don't actually have anything to do with it. Here, you got one evangelical that actually Latter-day Saints are watching. And of course, you got Jeff McCullough and you got David Boyce, the 52 Churches in 52 Weeks. Now, David would say he's more of a Protestant, which is fine. And there have been times where I've actually thought about ditching evangelical. Okay. That's not happening, though. I'm going to stay and fight. I'm staying and fight. I'm going to fight, because the evangelicalism at one time did represent a lot of good things in this country. And unfortunately, it's become a very ugly place. But like I said, I left the evangelical village 20 years ago. And when I came back, it was on fire, and realized that, oh my gosh, these people need Jesus. And then we have these evangelicals that go after the Church of Jesus Christ Latter-day Saints. And I'm like, guys, it's a dumpster fire over here. Why in the heck are we going after other people and their beliefs? We got some serious problems in the evangelical world. we really need to worry about the log that's hanging out of our eyes as opposed to the speck that we have, that the Latter-day Saints have. In the past week, I was helping clean our LDS chapel. As an ex-librarian, I noticed that due to social media, our library is way outdated. If I find an interesting book, I'll send it to you. Well, thank you. Yes, always send me books. I want to build this library. So yeah, thank you for telling me that. See, that's the key thing. Evangelicals, there are people who are faithful Latter-day Saints that are watching this program. There are ex-Mormons that are watching this program. There are atheists that are watching this program. There's a large contingent of people in the LGBTQ community that watch this channel. It's really, truly the most diverse audience in the Mormon podcast world. And a lot of evangelicals watch this channel. I hear from evangelicals all the time who say, I'm learning about Mormonism watching your channel. They ain't going to the anti-Mormon stuff anymore because they recognize for what it is. It's 1980s counter cult stuff. It's old hat. It's no longer relevant to the discussion, and it is not bringing anything to the table. It's all about tearing down and making fun and saying you're going to hell because you have this view of God that's different than mine. And it's just nonsense that we need to stop this now. Okay, let's see here. Oh, shalom, my friend. Homesick to get to watch you. Oh, yeah, Charles. Yeah, get better, my friend. You messaged me earlier today. And yeah, let's also pray for Nehemiah. Gordon, he's been a little bit under the weather, and keep him in your prayers as well, because hopefully we can do our read through for the Book of Mormon. Well, I've been doing this for over 30 minutes. My goodness, how time flies when you're having fun, hanging with your homies. I love all of you. And just give suggestions. Who would you like to have me come on this year? What podcast would you like for me to go on? I always like to actually. Being interviewed is a lot easier than being the interviewer, just so you know. Because see, when you're interviewing somebody, you gotta listen to the answer of the question you just asked them, right? But then you got to start formulating the question, the follow up, and that's really important. Is those follow up questions. All too often, the part of the reason I started this channel, quite frankly, was I'd be watching all these other programs that I love and think they're great hosts, and then this guest would give a great answer, and then they wouldn't ask the follow up question that I would ask. I realized, well, somebody's got to ask the follow-up question. So, John Hamer, you come on my program because I asked you the follow-up question that wasn't asked on one of the programs you're on. And that's really kind of the cool thing for me, was be able to do that. Ward Radio. Oh, Ward Radio. Should I go on Ward Radio, folks? Isn't that an interesting one? I have been I have had talks with them. They are aware of me. They've actually shouted me out a few times, real positive out there. It's an interesting dynamic that goes on with Ward Radio. Could I see now? Yeah, Charles says Nehemiah as well. I've actually been on Nehemiah as well. If you go and look at the live feed, the morning that Israel was attacked, I messaged Nehemiah, who was in Jerusalem, and he's like, "Hey, you want to come on my program and we can talk about the situation in Jerusalem?" Sure. So here I am, still wearing the clothes I was sleeping in, half asleep, talking to Nehemiah live in Jerusalem. So yeah, I've been on Nehemiah as well. Ward Radio, I don't know. I'll have to see how that goes. There's a way I could see me going on Ward Radio, but there would be certain stipulations that would have to be, certain boxes that would have to be checked off in order for me to go on. And quite frankly, there are very, very good friends of mine, that they have attacked. And I don't want any of those friends to feel that it's a betrayal that I would go on a channel that they were attacked on. Okay. So for me, all my friends who've been attacked by Ward Radio, I would first go to them and say, listen, is it okay if I go on that program? And if you don't want me to go on, I won't go on. And that's really the that's the only reason I haven't gone on Ward Radio, is that, look, it's a very sensitive thing. And I have very, very close friends that they have said some pretty nasty things about. And I want to do right by my friends. See, I'm first and foremost, I'm loyal to my friends. And so I would want to have clearances from all the people that might feel hurt that I went on, and especially if I didn't come to them first. So that would be one of the stipulations. There's a few other stipulations I would have. I think it would honestly, I think if I were to go on Ward Radio, it would be explosive. I think it would just be huge, because I think there's a dynamic that I would bring to the table in that room that I think would be pretty extraordinary. So part of me does toy with the idea of going on there. And I kind of been invited on, and have had some preliminary talks. But again, I want to do right by my friends and my homies as well. So I want to do right by you. I don't want to take any more of your time. You got to go out and do your thing. I'm just here, here at the mobile home. My mom came in while we're doing this episode. And just so you know, right outside, I have an on-air sign that blinks whenever I'm on, which is kind of cool. I bought for like $50 last year, and it's one of those cool things I get to do. So yeah, 2 trips to Utah for sure this year. Hopefully, I did 3 last year. I can see me doing at least 3 or 4 this year to Utah. And give me some suggestions for guests and also podcasts you'd like for me to go on. Again, thanks for the suggestions as well, everybody. Happy New Year. This is the beginning of a new time. Let's pray. Let's keep this country in our prayers. I think 2024 has the potential to be an absolutely disastrous year, it being an election year. I was having some breakfast with some friends. I said, I'm very afraid what this country is going to look like a year from now, no matter who wins the election. I'm very concerned. I mean, I really feel like we're on the precipice here, and Lord knows, hopefully the approach that I take which is being a peacemaker and a bridge builder and a facilitator. I want to model this behavior and show that if I can get the evangelical world and the Mormon world, the Latter-day Saint world, talking to each other, I think if we can build bridges with each other, then anything's possible at that point. Go on other channels who crucify our beliefs, but you go on channels, so why not word radio? Oh yeah, that's good. That's a good point. I do appreciate you going on other channels who crucify our beliefs, but you go on their channel, so why not ward radio? It would be a great Jake is. Okay, so yeah, no, that's a good point. I think there's a difference between going on a channel that talks about the differences, and then there's then personal stuff. That's the only difference. But no, point taken. Jake Isbell would be a great guest. I know that name. Oh yeah. I know who he is. Yep. Yeah, I've talked with Jake, so we'll see. Something might come down the road there as well. Yeah, so thanks for the suggestions in the chat. If you're not watching this live, leave information in the comment section. Excellent year to read the Book of Mormon, a story of 2 ancient peoples brought to a land of promise to worship the one true God, only to have their civilizations collapse from the wicked corruption. Yeah, this is the thing, folks. I get criticized. Oh, why would you want to read through the Book of Mormon? I said, whether you believe it's a 19th century document or if it's an ancient document, it exists. And it's a text that's worthy of our study. My friend Christopher Thomas was the president of the Book of Mormon Studies Association, folks. He engages the text. Why can't I? Why do I get criticized for engaging the text of the Book of Mormon? I mean, I don't get that. Yeah, I don't get that at all. Sean McCraney would give a fascinating viewpoint. Yeah, so just so you know, I got together for dinner with Sean McCraney when I was in Utah. We actually ran into each other at Denny's right before the baptism I was going to attend. I was having breakfast with Landon and Rebecca of Mormonish, and there walks in Sean McCraney, and boy, he was so excited to see me and gave each other a hug. By the way, Sean and I have an interesting, for years, I told Sean when I had dinner with him, I said, Sean, you realize that for the time when I was an atheist, the only Christian that I gave any credence to within the broader Christian world was yours. Like, he was like the only ministry I'd watch. So yeah, Sean McCraney, keep an eye out for that. There will probably be some interactions with Sean and I. He's actually bringing back Heart of the Matter, and it's going to be a much different Heart of the Matter, and it's going to engage Mormonism, but I think it's going to be done more in the way that I'm doing it than the way he did it in the aughts when he was the biggest anti-Mormon on YouTube, period. Like, he was huge, and he's kind of come, if you will, full circle. It's kind of interesting dude. And yes, I agree, evangelical critics, I know you hate Sean McCraney. But you know what? He is a fellow image bearer, and he does love Jesus. And he's not perfect. He admits to it. He shoots himself in the foot all the time. But Rob Fotherington would be a great guest. Okay, yeah, I think I know that name. So I hear so many names tossed my way. Sometimes it's hard for me to keep track. Again, I'm just responding to the chat here, folks. If you're watching this another time, I think you can turn the chat on so that you can see this as it develops as well. Well, okay. Well, I got quite a few people watching here. I'm pretty impressed with it and getting some really good real time stuff here, which is really cool. So I think I'm going to start doing this more often, folks. What do you think? Should I do more live stuff? Maybe I'll do a special tour of my bookshelves or something. Some of my favorite books. Oh, and there is an evangelical yesterday. His name's David. And he had recommended, why don't you talk about some of your favorite evangelical books? And I thought that's a good one. So I'm going to do like, what are some really good evangelical books that Latter-day Saints could read? Or evangelical books that atheists or ex-Mormons could read. So I'm starting to think, oh yeah, Rock Waterman. Yeah, Charles already had Rock Waterman on my program, and he's already been on. Maybe I'll have Rock on again. Yeah, he's an interesting dude. You like the live shows, Lucy? Appreciate that. Okay, so yeah, getting some. It's really, actually, honestly, it's really cool to get like this instant feedback. It's like, oh, people actually do watch me. People do actually take the time to write comments and stuff. So it just means a lot. Like that, you take your time. You take the time out of your day to watch this. Honestly, it means a lot to me. It really does. So either way, well, before I start tearing up here, I better get going. Either way, I love all of you. I appreciate all of you. Really, my life is so much better now that since I started this channel, and I've got all these wonderful friends. I've made all these wonderful friends. I have helped build a community, the MBR community. It's its own little ecosystem. And it's just so cool to be able to share this, be part of this world, you know? It's a real privilege. It's a real privilege, everybody. So thank you. Have a happy new year. God bless all of you. I love all of you so much. And I'm really looking forward to doing a lot of good stuff here. Love you. Thanks. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.